I noticed a lot of people saw this online, but on Pablo Schreiber's Instagram, he posted a thing saying huge thanks to everybody who supported the show, and then the last paragraph, he says, for all those fans rooting against the home team, and fans is in quotations, um, who hated the show before they saw it and disagree with what we were doing. I respect your opinion. I love you too, because the truth is, we love the same thing, and I'll keep working my ass off each and every day to make this show the best version of itself, to bring attention and respect to the Halo universe we love for all of us. Let me say something. That's bullshit. All right, like putting fans in quotation like that, like what? Like the people that don't like the show aren't real fans. We're not fans of Halo. You're the fucking weird one. You're part of a show that makes no fucking sense and isn't part of any fucking canon or anything. It's not part of anything in any of the books, any of the games, or nothing.
Yeah, and you can't call yourself a fan if you haven't even played the games, which
Yeah,
I'm
he
pretty
played
sure he
like
didn't.
one game or something like that on LAN like fucking 5 years ago or something like that. I mean, it's just like
Yeah, no.
it's disheartening, really. And it's like I can't believe he put fans in quotations like that. Like that's like a jab, you know?
Yeah,
Like
you
we were
don't
talking
really.
about in the other video. I mean, it's just it's a microaggression. It's like, okay, well, we know you're just pissed off that we don't like it. That's clear and obvious.
Hmm.
And another thing I wanted to bring up too, I've been seeing this on Instagram and the Halo series pages, all the Halo pages or whatever. People are talking about, oh, he took his helmet off in the books. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the books that fucking 5% of the player base fucking read. Sorry, I don't care
Hmm.
about them. Um, you know, it,
Yeah,
and you're
what people
asking,
don't understand, it's that the books came after the video games. The video
yeah,
games are the only thing that are canon.
they're a result of the production of Halo CE. Now, the first book was written, it came out 2 months prior to Halo CE because that had a set release date. But the books were being written as a result of Halo CE's production that started in like
Hmm.
1996. And it's like, okay, if you're gonna bring up the fucking books, what fucking book does this show follow? It doesn't follow any fucking book, so shut up about the fucking books, first of all. And also, it's
Yeah.
like, here's one thing I don't really like about the books. There's like 9 different fucking authors across like 10 of
Oh
them,
yeah.
and it's like, that's just not the same as the Lord of the Rings, all written by one guy, or it's just not the same, or Harry Potter, all written by the
Yeah.
same woman. It's just not the same. It's just not the games are sorry, the books are a result of the game. It's
Hmm.
not the other way around.
Yeah, and they're
Um,
not the same writers or creators of the video games. The people that are writing the books, as far as like you said, Joseph Staten wrote two of them or something, which he's an original, but a lot of them are just not. And the same goes for Halo 4 and 5. They just it ended with after Reach, the original creators just stopped writing, and those are the people that are basically like your J.K. Rowling or whatever authors. Like those guys have to play a part. Like you can't say that you're trying to make this game good or this TV show good without getting their input. Like you need them because they're like I want those people. And if you really are a fan, you will have these people a part of the whole process and not just like in the background, kind of like no, they need to be like, okay, is this gonna work? Is this like, does this a Halo thing? It needs to like they need to make the final say on a lot of this stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, after Halo 3 and Reach or whatever. I mean, 4. I mean, 4. Everyone knew 4 was just widely different. I mean, I mean, there's almost nobody that carried over
Yeah.
in the production team there. I mean, you can see it in the game. It's completely different. It
Hmm.
just doesn't. It's Halo, but not really. It's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah. And I
Um,
in the cast and everything, if you look into it, it's you can see why. There's none of the same people working on it. When Halo 4 came out, I was just like, these aren't the same people. It's a total recast, everything. It's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We'll have to save this for another video, but man, like, we'll have to do a review on like 4 and 5, or just talk about where the franchise kind of started going south, because that was a pivotal moment.
Mhm.
And I still feel like there's a lot of wounds in the Halo community. Like Infinite wasn't perfect on release. Nowhere near. I mean, they should have postponed it 2 years, not one. We're still
Mhm.
here with no Forge, like months and months after release. No maps. In my opinion, the campaign was pretty piss poor. It was too bright. There was no real issue. You know, Chief never really got too in trouble. You know, it lost all those thriller vibes and those eerie vibes of the original games. It's just, you know, and I feel like the fan base and everything, like we still haven't recovered from how shitty, you know, Halo 4 and on were. We haven't recovered from that yet.
Yeah.
And they did a piss poor job trying to, you know, put a band-aid over the wound with fucking Infinite, in my opinion. And the engine looks fucking amazing. I love the way it looks. The game, as far as competitive goes, it plays amazing. But but casually, the game doesn't play the same as the old games. And it's just, you know, the campaign was pretty lackluster. So
Yep. It used to be that when they came out with a campaign, it was kind of like this is a start to finish. This is like basically it's a chapter in like the Halo universe, but it's incomplete with Halo Infinite. They kind of based it on, hey, we're gonna give you more later, but I kind of don't like that approach. I kind of prefer it the way they used to do it, obviously.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and just it was just so much heart and soul. Like when you go back and look at the production of Halo 2, Halo C, Halo 3, I mean, there was just so much heart and soul put into these games. Great voice actors, great writing, and it's just we've just never gotten back to that kind of enthusiasm about the games.
Yeah, it
And it
was
sucks.
Halo
It's
Infinite
painful.
had such a good chance to like redeem itself, and we can't see the lines at the stores though, like we used to, which is kind of cool. Like Halo 2 and Halo 3 were such a massive blockbuster video game. It beat like movies back then. It grossed so much more than any like mainstream movie coming out the years that those games were coming out. It was incredible, and we it's like back then we didn't really know what we had when we had it because there was so much more creativity, and then nowadays it's just everything's just fallen off, and now you can really see the difference, and it's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for anybody that's you know, still talking about the books and stuff, and actually that kind of person. I got to read this comment from this one guy that was debating some other clown that was making excuses for the show with the books. He said the books didn't make hundreds of millions of dollars, the games did. When advertising for the show, they didn't say based on the acclaimed novels, they said based on the acclaimed video game. The games are the medium in which Halo has always been consumed. I love that comment. That was
Yeah,
perfect.
perfectly said.
It's not about the fucking books. I promise you that. And if you're one of those fucking actually kind of loser nerds or whatever the hell, you know, I can only assume that if you're using excuses, you know, if you're making excuses for the show with the books, like you're probably really bad at the games and you never really understood why they were good in the first place. You never understood why this universe was special in the first place.
Hmm. Yeah, going back to the book saying, or whoever said that, you know, he takes off his helmet in the books. It's like I really don't give a shit about what the books say. If it contradicts anything from Halo 1 through 3, it's not correct
Yeah,
at all.
like as an example, you know, if there was a book that, you know, this was show was based off of, it's not canon. I don't care
Yeah.
what 343 says. I don't care what Microsoft says. I don't give a shit about that. It's not canon. If this is the result of any text, I mean,
Hmm.
and it's not, thankfully.
And he does take his helmet off in the games, but we don't want to see it because, I mean, clearly he does, but the whole point
It's
is that
because
we
you know
never
what,
see his
we're
face.
supposed to feel like the hero when we're playing as Master Chief. Like we feel like we're part of that story. You know, when we're playing the game, it's a first person shooter. You know, it's like that's why it's important for us to not know who he is because he could be anybody.
But
You
even
know.
more than that, like, because people are that was their whole reason, and we're divorcing the concept of you being the Master Chief. I'm like, yeah, it's fun to play as Master Chief, but it's still like acts just like a movie. If I'm watching this in a movie form, it's in third person. I'm not seeing it first person. How am I going to think I'm Master Chief? You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can't even run into that issue if you were trying to make that point. Um, so
Yeah.
no, it's the mystery. You obviously, again, you're not a Halo fan if you don't get why the mystery of Halo and Master Chief is important.
Yeah.
We want that mystery. It's like it's the thing that makes it so
Yeah. We don't need to
amazing.
know this too much about him. Like they're trying to build so much backstory. It's like no, we don't need that. He Master Chief, uh, builds his character through his actions, like what he does in these high stakes scenarios and stuff. That's how we learn about this character. That's what builds his
Hmm.
reputation. It's not going to be taking off his helmet and finding out he likes the color blue. I promise that ain't it. So
All right.
anyway, yeah, to everyone that commented on the recent video, why the Halo show is worse than they say. Honestly, you guys are great. I mean, that I got so much positive feedback here. We did, and it's fun, engaging and talking to you guys, and seeing that there are people out there that really do give a shit. Because people not giving a shit is why this show happened, and we're here to say that we still give a shit. We still care about this. So I think that's
Yeah,
important.
there's really not enough of us out there, and just to see that there are, which I always knew there were, but I don't know. It's really nice to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you guys, I mean, you guys are on the money. Like a lot of these comments are great. They're paragraphs. You guys are just spot on. I mean, I don't think there's a single
Yeah, I
comment
pretty
here I
much agree
disagree
with
with.
pretty much
Yeah,
every. Yeah,
which is crazy. And we're people of high conviction, and we see it in you guys, and that makes us want to do more of this stuff. And
yeah, that's why we're doing this.
yeah, just the reason we're doing this is just because
We just don't want to feel like we're alone out there. That's really the biggest thing. And I think one person commented, it's like there's just really too much positivity. And it's not that we can't be positive. It's not really about that. It's just that the truth isn't being said in the way it should be. And
mm-hmm.
yeah, I
It's
don't
just
know.
not being taken seriously enough, and there are bad reviews of the Halo show. There's not like we're not special in thinking it's bad, but even the bad reviews aren't coming out with concrete details as to why it really sucks. They're not capturing the real emotion. Maybe a lot of them are saying it's bad because it's cool to say it's bad because there is a decent amount of hate on it. But we're here to just really push back because we feel like it's necessary. Like we feel like we're very passionate about this. We think that the Halo story, if done correctly in a movie format, is right up there with Interstellar. The Christopher Nolan.
Star Wars, Lord of the
Batman
Rings,
series. I
anything
mean,
you can think of that's super popular that
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
really
Like,
made it. It's
and it
that
makes me want to
level of
wring
a story.
Microsoft's neck because it's like you got the next Star Wars in your hand. That's disrespecting Halo. Like, this Halo story is much better than Star Wars in my opinion, if done correctly. I mean, it is so good, and the fact that they're just throwing it away, terrible. I can't believe it.
It's heartbreaking. Like
And
it just getting
yeah.
getting through that show. I can't. I mean, I can't watch any more of it. I don't think. It's just like the first one was a chore to watch, and the second one, I mean, somebody needs to be paying me because it was like that bad.
Yeah.
I need a fucking check because I'm sitting here and this is work.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my god.
Right. They're just taking your emotions on a fucking roller coaster, just
Yeah, just
throwing them out the
heartbreaking.
window.
It's like
Really, just not
I
giving a
can't
shit.
even I can't rate it. I can't like 1 star. It's a 0. It's a -10 or a 0. It's just like you just it's heartbreaking. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Great comments, you guys. Yeah, we'll continue to do this. Definitely when we get engagement like that, 100%.